I'm not really sure where to start this video. It's been almost 5 years since I made a video, and I kind of miss it. And I get a lot of messages, very kind messages of people asking me if I'm okay. I guess I kind of want to make a video to say I am okay. Well, there were mainly like two reasons that I stopped doing videos and just kind of disappeared altogether. One of them was just mental health. Like, I don't know, I was just too stressed out and didn't really know how to handle all the criticism I was getting, and I focused too much on the negativity. I mean, there's always been tons of positive people, but like my mind would just like laser focus on any negative stuff I got, and like that's all I could think about. So yeah, the mental health was one part, and then the other part was we had a lot of financial problems just from we were expecting that I would finish the game and like release it and have money, but I kept on, I don't know, just like trying to finish it and like just sort of going into like delusions and denial, like no, like I'm gonna finish it. And so like our finances just kept getting worse and worse, and then eventually like I just had to like give up on it and get a normal full-time job that also related to the mental health, because I guess that there was some shame in that, because it was sort of like I tried to achieve this dream of like making my dream game, and it's sort of turning into a disaster and not working out. I just had to stop doing stop being a public person just because I couldn't handle the stress. And then I had a job opportunity in the Philippines. I don't know, I just met this guy online and did some work for him, and then he offered me a job if I moved to the Philippines. So we didn't really have anywhere to live. Like we ran out of money, so we were living with my parents. So we were like, okay. So anyway, we moved to the Philippines for this blockchain job. That's the career I'm now in. I'm a blockchain engineer. The house was like terrible. There were giant cockroaches everywhere, and like and the cockroaches fly there. They don't just crawl. So like the cockroaches there are so scary. Because when you see like a giant cockroach flying at you, like, I don't know, you just kind of freak out, or I do at least. They also have giant spiders there, like this big. It was sort of like a fresh start where me and Iggy's my wife, for those that don't know, we were living in a foreign country, and got a different perspective on a lot of things. I don't know, just seeing like life from outside of the US. And so then COVID happened, and then I started working from home instead of the office. And then eventually like the guy just canceled the project. So then we were just living in the Philippines for like no reason in particular anymore. And the lockdowns there were very strict. We had to wear face shields, like both a mask and a face shield. And like in the Philippines, they have armed guards also. So like there's people with shotguns like all over the place. So it takes a little getting used to. Anyway, then I was like living in this foreign country, and I wasn't working anymore. And then I sort of felt like a failure again. And like a few months after that is kind of when I had like my full on mental breakdown, where I was having like panic attacks every day, having trouble doing basic stuff like making tea, like just not barely being able to function as a human being, and then making terrible life-changing decisions. And then there was one moment where Iggy was there and I was there just like lying on the floor. And I mean, it's sort of like you have to realize it for yourself, like when you really hit rock bottom, and then you kind of like finally realize like, wait a second, like there's something wrong, like there's something wrong with me. So I don't want to get into too many details for personal reasons, but there was this moment, and then I was like, okay, like I finally kind of realized like I think there's like something, maybe potentially seriously wrong with me mentally. I searched for a therapist, and I found a therapist in the Philippines. Started seeing her regularly, and then after months, like the panic attacks stopped eventually. I haven't had one for like 2 years. Yeah, like 2 years or something now. And I just kind of like learned a lot of stuff about myself that I just like always thought I was fine, like mentally, but then I just through therapy I realized like it turns out I didn't grow up in like the healthiest family environment. We had a lot of repression. It was a very strict household, so I just learned so many bad emotional habits where I would suppress my emotions so deeply that like I wouldn't even know they were there, but they would still be controlling me, but like I wasn't aware of them. And it just leads to all kinds of problems down the line. Like the longer you leave it unaddressed, like you kind of can just drive yourself mad. So yeah, the therapy for me was life-changing. After like 6 months of therapy, I was able to start working again. I got a different job, and then that job turned out to be a scam because there's a lot of like there's a lot of scams with blockchain and cryptocurrency and stuff. And this was kind of before it was widely known that there was a lot of scammy stuff. Then after that, I got another job, and I still work there today. Anyway, like since we kind of like had income and stuff, and like we were paying off our debts and everything, we decided we didn't want to be in the Philippines anymore. But we also kind of liked living outside of the US, so we wanted to move to a different country. We were originally gonna move to Mexico because that's where Iggy's parents are from. Like she has Mexican heritage and she can get Mexican citizenship really easily. But I don't know, we just looked a little bit more, and we eventually decided to move to Uruguay, which is a small country between Brazil and Argentina. And that's where I am right now. So after the Philippines, we moved back to the US and lived there for like, I think it was like 6 months or something. And then, like sold all our stuff and cut our ties to the US as much as we could, and just kind of started a new life here. So this is a Spanish speaking country. So I've been learning Spanish. I'm not very good at it. But yeah, we started fresh. We were able to get out of our financial trouble and pay off all of our debts. We're doing okay now. We both like it in Uruguay. We live in Montevideo, which is a city. I mean, it's the main city in Uruguay. I used to live in Chicago. It kind of reminds me of Chicago, but I like it better. I don't know, it's pretty clean, and we live near the ocean. So I don't know if I skipped a bunch of stuff, but that's kind of what happened to me. Yeah, and I found a new therapist here. So I'm still in therapy, still healing. I write in a journal now. Like when I have difficult feelings, I try to write them out in the journal and try to process them instead of just pushing them down like I used to. It's kind of what happened to me. And yeah, like the reason I stopped posting, and kind of the reason for everything, kind of the reason that everything went bad, is like I just had so many mental health problems that I was completely unaware of. Just had like so much pain and sadness and frustration, like all this stuff deep inside, but it was like hidden behind a layer of arrogance. So like I mean, I know I didn't always come off as arrogant, but just it's like I had this outer shell that was kind of like, protecting the inner part, which was like really vulnerable. And then what happened in the Philippines, it's like the outer shell kind of got broken. And then I kind of realized that I was just like this like sad, I felt pathetic. And it was sort of like accepting who I was, that because like I just had this idea that I had to be perfect, I had to be a success, like that's the household I grew up in. Like the only way to get attention was to be the best and be successful. And what that just led to me doing was just like burning myself out so bad, working myself to exhaustion. I mean, I think that's how I was able to make Super Mario crossover, with no game development experience. And in the time before there were game engines and stuff, I mean, that game was written with no engine. It was from reading books. I wasn't watching like YouTube tutorials how to make a game back then. It was like an obsession with work. Like I always had to be working. I was incapable of just relaxing. And I mean, there's so many things that contributed to that mindset. I mean, it's part of the American culture, is just like work yourself to death. And that's another reason I wanted to move away from America, because here it's much more relaxing. They have this phrase where they say tranqui, tranqui, and it means like calm down, like take it easy. So, because I also have a lot of social anxiety, especially when I'm speaking a different language, and people can tell I'm a little bit stressed out. So they say like tranqui, tranqui. Then I'm like, okay, and I try to relax a bit. And I mainly wanted to make this video just to say that I'm okay. I did go through a very difficult time, and I didn't know that like I had these issues with just working myself to death, because it's all I knew. And I think I wasn't really able to handle conflict or things not going the way I expected. Like whenever we had a problem with the game, I didn't deal with it in like a reasonable way. Like every time we had a problem, my reactions to the problem just kept making things worse. And then I was just getting so stressed out. I kept making all these terrible decisions. Like I kept changing the name, and like it was just a lot of bad decisions. And moving into the house, I think, was the worst decision, because that got all these like financial entanglements. And I also kind of look back at it and realized that the amount of money we got wasn't very much. I mean, just being an adult, living, just being like a bit older and realizing how much stuff costs. And I think just the entire idea behind the project was pretty absurd. I don't mean the idea for the game was absurd. I just mean like thinking that I could make this like retro game. I think I said it was going to have like 80 levels or something like that. I think the original amount was $10,000. Like it's just insane. I had no idea what I was doing. And yeah, I'm sorry for the people that backed the project, because I don't know, I guess you had no way of knowing that I didn't know how to deal with conflict and what wasn't really able to handle. Basically, like I didn't know what I didn't know. I assumed that because I knew how to make a fan game, which all I did was write the code, that it meant that I knew how to make a game from scratch. And that was the biggest part of arrogance on my part. I thought maybe I could just like hire people and people would know how to do it, but then I didn't have enough money to pay people. So like it was just an absurd situation in that house. Like we tried to make a deal where we were like covering, giving people a place to live, but not really paying them enough, and not really sure what more I can really say about it. Just, it was kind of doomed from the start. Like the more I've thought about it and looked back on it, and not that the idea is wrong. I still think it's a cool idea, but I wasn't really the person that could make that a success at that time. I've barely done any game development over the last 5 years. The reason for that is because my day job is programming, and it's hard to program for your day job and then like program as a hobby after, because I get really tired, because programming involves so much critical thinking and logic and problem solving that like I just don't want to do that after. So I haven't really done much game development, although I have like tried to like do kind of like planning and creative. Yeah, I feel like I'm just not that good at game design or making levels or characters. Like I don't know. I feel like the only thing I'm good at is programming. I think I do have a skill where I'm able to hold a vision for a project, and then if I have the right people, I can sort of turn it into a cohesive thing, because that's what I used to do with films. I was a filmmaker before a game developer. If you guys have any questions or whatever, like specific questions you want me to answer, I could maybe do a follow-up. Just leave comments. Another reason I wanted to make this video was just to start making content again. Before I made games, I used to make short films. And this was before YouTube, so I wasn't really able to post them. I mean, I've posted some of them. They were basically all comedies. So since I'm kind of like in the process of healing mentally, like the main reason I don't do comedy is because I'm scared, because I'm like afraid of what people are going to think, if they're going to think I'm really weird or something for the videos that I make. I kind of want to try to start doing comedy again. So when I have the energy, I will hopefully be posting some comedy stuff to this channel. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is streaming. I'm going to start streaming games. Remember, I used to do like ROM hacks and stuff. I want to start streaming ROM hacks again. And I've been preparing for this for a while. Like you can see I have a microphone and like acoustic panels and a blue light. But anyway, like it's kind of hard to get stuff in Uruguay. Like I have to order from the US and I have to wait a long time. So I'm going to start streaming, and I'm going to be doing it with my wife, because that's going to be a little bit more fun, I think. And also, I was kind of surprised at how many people said they miss me playing the games. Again, that's just my like messed up self-image. I thought people were just telling me they liked the games just to be nice, but I guess people really did think that it was funny. We will be streaming some stuff. I just have one more piece of equipment I'm waiting on, and then we'll be able to start. Thanks to all the people that sent me messages asking if I was okay. That actually meant kind of a lot. And once I was in more of like a better mental health state where I could actually sort of comprehend that, like it did help a lot. So thank you for that. I don't know what else I want to say. It's just, I'm in a Spanish speaking country and I suck at Spanish. Just really thank you for people that have, I don't know, just been along for the journey. For everyone that was part of the Exploding Rabbit community, like during the forums and everything, like that was such just a beautiful time and like a really great experience. It was a really cool community, and I know people were upset that got shut down. I was so stressed out. I just couldn't think clearly, and like I just couldn't handle like feedback and stuff. It was a great community, and I hope everybody is doing okay. I know it's rough out there. We got climate change, and I'm also very scared of AI. I feel like AI is gonna take all the programming jobs, and I don't know what else it's gonna do. It's rough out there, and that's kind of why I'd rather just do comedy, because life is stressful. It's like at least we can maybe laugh a little bit sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. I guess we'll see what happens with this. Feel free to watch The streams, I have no idea when they're going to be, because if I make a schedule, I'm going to stress myself out. So for now, there's not going to be a schedule. It's probably going to be on the weekends. I don't know. Let's just see how it goes. Okay. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.